In the year of our Lord, 867, Ireland is ravaged by the Viking menace. Its churches and monasteries burn, and its great intellectual figures flee to the continent as refugees. Among them, following in the footsteps of John Scotus, is Eoin Latheirt, a young, arrogant ecclesiastic who seeks to write his name in the pages of history. Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and this is Master Owen of the Irish Rovers, a young ecclesiastic who has just finished his studies at Inishfallen in the southwest of the country, but with the island menaced by the Vikings. He has decided that he is going to become an adventurer. He's going to travel to Europe, and we have a couple of different goals that we could achieve for Master Owen on this playthrough, this look at the landless gameplay in Roads to Power. Owen has 2 followers. They are stewardship-focused figures, so as a learning-focused figure himself, we're going to be getting lots of learning, stewardship, and diplomacy, predominantly stewardship and learning challenges. So Dungol and Culdub, the Shrewd. Oh, he's a lustful character. He'll be telling us stories that we won't want to listen to because Master Owen is chaste, he's a bit arrogant, and diligent. He's a mastermind philosopher and a poet. This is my first time actually ever using the character creator to create a character to go on an adventure. And what better way to start an adventure than to pick a learning lifestyle perk? We don't have much of a choice. Saga City. Great place to go. Now he's already gone down Whole of Body, so we have Scholar and Theologian. And it's kind of interesting that one of the 2 of these wasn't picked because it kind of gives us an option as to where we would like to go with Owen on his journey. There's a number of different decisions. Owen could try and become a great conqueror. He could champion the Irish culture and secure a duchy for his culture. Probably not. The 2 that will be of most interest to Owen will be the travels of Eoin Latheirt. So we can look back on his travels, visit 26 sites of interest. So that would be... We don't specifically have to be scholar for this one, but we would have to be a theologian if we want to get the insularist path. And we would need to be on an insular holy site to actually take this decision, as well as getting a variety of other traits and getting a paragon of virtue. So most certainly one thing that Owen has in mind is to travel north to Armagh, then to Iona, down to Cambridge, and possibly... He's definitely going to head to the continent, head for France and Central Europe, and head for Rome, if not even possibly Jerusalem itself. Owen is dressed in the garb of a Benedictine monk. Now, I don't think the Benedictines had actually made it to Ireland at this stage, but there are images of John Scotus, John the Gael, dressed in a Benedictine robe, born in 815, died in 877, so he is alive at this point in time and wandering somewhere around in this region. A very influential and important Irish philosopher, one of many intellectuals who migrated / fled from Ireland in this time period. His knowledge of Greek and Latin was so respected that he was personally asked on a number of occasions to do translation work for Louis the Pious, Charles the Bold, and everybody's favourite CK3 Byzantine Emperor, Michael III. Now, before we can begin our adventure, we have to decide our camp purpose, and we're going to become scholars. This will increase our monthly lifestyle experience. It will give us more learning and stewardship contracts and slightly more diplomacy contracts. And then we'll have a number of camp upgrades, which we'll be able to secure as a result of that. So there you go, puts on a pair of glasses and gets himself a book. I did try to make him look somewhat like Father Fintonstack from Father Ted, Brendan Grace's character. So, do you know what? I think the glasses have actually helped. Now we're based in Tralee. Now, IRL, Tralee would be around here, and Killarney and Inishfallen would actually be around, kind of, a bit to the north of where we actually are at the moment, so we don't have too far to go to begin our very first adventure. We will go to the court of Cu Congialt Mac Alil Brow, and try and improve his ruler reputation. So before setting out on our great journey, we are going to visit the court of the local ruler. Now, this is a diplomacy challenge, and we're not great for diplomacy at the moment, but I think it only makes sense that we would try and gain the approval of the local ruler. We will travel all the ways from just outside Killarney to Killarney. We're told that it's no secret that Chieftain Cú-Chongailt's reputation isn't all that it could be, and so he has gone to Inishfallen seeking a PR agent. And as we are looking to finance our journeys to the continent, we have taken up the task. And we have the option of what type of agents we want to assign to the task. So Herald uses stewardship, which we have some strong stewardship figures. So scribes and heralds, and we only have 2 at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. We wouldn't want to take this one, and we wouldn't want to take this one. So let's just get on with our task. And this is going to bring us to the new contract scheme page. So I think it was scribe, I said. Benefits from learning and stewardship. So we can assign Dungol, who's going to bring 31 locked archery targets. And I think it was Herald. We should be able to assign Cool Dove, the Shrewd, a 5 only. That's not great. What was the other one? Was it Gabbler? Oh no. These aren't great numbers at all. We'll give you another 14. Now this would be a different. This is Egg Timers. Okay. I thought this one was going to work. Yeah, diplomacy, and are you just useless? He's not, but he's not doing great. We've been in the court of Cú-Chongailt's for half a year, and in that length of time, Dungol has not washed himself once. What's the point, he says, when the dust of tomorrow's road will be upon me in the morning anyhow? Because we're arrogant, we will lose some stress, and become a hygiene disciplinarian, plus 10 courtier opinion. Dungol becomes a stinky, stinky boy for 10 years. So Cú-Chongailt's, in a bid to make some friends, has started raiding Thomond. Good job. Oh, there you go. There's some friends he's found. Now, he hasn't managed to find any friends in Thomond, but Cool Dove has found a cat. And you know what? Who needs friends when you have a cat? Here's an option that I think pops up fairly early in landless playthroughs, a means to an end. We could try and claim some land in the future. We could keep our options open and become a flexible leader. We're going to enjoy this life. We're going to become a traveller, gain some trait experience in Wanderer, and 150 prestige. And I don't know what the hell's after happening, but we are no longer obese. Possibly we're finding it hard to eat with the smell of this stinky boy. Now we have at the moment, and we have just hit it, a limit to, and there we go, Cú-Chongailt's has made more friends. We have a limit to how much of a success chance we can get in this current task. So it was 61%. Various things can happen that can push that number up. We haven't managed to get any of them, so we have reached the very max. We could continue to wait, continue maybe to hope for more events that might help us to push that up. We could try now and execute the scheme, and we have enough keys to seize the moment. 61% chance of success. We would need 10 keys, 10 advantages, to try and execute with confidence. Do you know what? Look at that, the lights reflecting in his eyes. We will try and seize this moment. So it looks like it's been a success. Cú-Chongailt's Mac Alal Brow will give us 64 quid. Gains 30 opinion. He is added to our roll of patrons, and we get some provisions for the long journey. So Cool Dove, I presume, told him to get a cat. We did some exercise, some working out with him. We got him a fancy new eye patch. We've a long road ahead of us. In the background, we can hear Cú-Chongailt's making friends with neighbouring rulers. And here is the camp of the Irish Rovers, currently located on the side of the McKillicuddy Reeks. There's one of the eagles that they've been letting loose around the Clarny region of recent. There's some other native animals to the southwest of Ireland, like a sheep. And now that we've gotten some money from Cú we're going to use that to unlock the supply tent. It'll give us a quartermaster, increased options for the camp revelry activity, and increased provisions. And while we're on the screen, I can take the move camp action to begin moving the camp northwards. I'm going to plant ourselves here in Evonia, because our immediate goal is to get to Armagh to undertake a pilgrimage. Now, we don't need to actually move, but I am going to try and take this contract here to improve ruler reputation for Chieftain Flanshina. So here's a bit of a dangerous area at the moment. We thought it was the Vikings that we had to run from, but this is causing us a bit of problems as well. I have appointed Culdove as our caravan master. We will start moving our camp. So this is when we start using provisions, is to move the camp. And we've only made it as far as North Kerry, the Listowel direction, when we are accosted by a necromancer. I would have expected this from Cork, but not the north of Kerry. We could have Saran cease this foul sorcery. He would kick the living daylights out of us. Instead, we will become learned in demonology, which will give us +3 learning, but -15 piety. Do you know what? We have a lot of piety. I think that necromancer rotted all the food. Do you know what? It's just a bit of mold. And as we reach Kincora, which will one day become an important centre for the Dalgosh, probably is at this moment, but the Dalgosh aren't all that important, we find an elaborately decorated tomb. We could crack it open and see what's in there, but you know what? I'm not a necromancer yet. I will not desecrate the dead. So it took us a while, but we have finally reached the camp at Athenry. There's the man himself, Flanshina. Flanshina, what are you doing here? I thought it was Dunica. Anyway, never mind. We will travel to accept this quest from Flanshina for 52 gold. I think Cú paid us a bit more money. So we don't have that much of a journey. We didn't need to journey all the ways up here, but it does put us in a position where we can see contracts in this region. Now at the moment, our maximum chance of success is just 30%, and we can assign our 5 agents again. Dungol would give 31 if we make him a scribe. However, if we make him a musician, he will give 18. And Culdove will give 30 for this. So that's now knocked us up to 78%. That will be the maximum, unless we get some events that will push that up even further. Look at this for a brave man. He's got his glasses on, and he's not even using his hands to control himself. He's riding through a fair, and I think he's just grabbing anything that he can find off the tables. We're going to try our luck in some ruins to see if we can find a dusty weapon or a small trinket. We did indeed discover a small trinket, what looks to be a drinking vessel. It is a small bell beaker, +1 learning and increased prestige. I wonder, are we the ones giving people this advice? We can see that Flanshina has just raised his army and is going looking for some friends. Maybe we're the one that's telling everybody that we visit, you know, go out and find some friends aggressively. Now, Owen is having a bit of a rant. Doomed to wander this stinking bog for all eternity. Yeah, mead can be taxing at the best of times. We have dramatically increased our provision capacity as we have finished the provisions tent in our camp. We can probably find something which gets us 400 provisions. And poor Flanshina returns without any money, without any friends, but we get a learning lifestyle perk. We haven't taken any stress as yet, and because of our arrogance, we actually have the option to lose quite a lot of stress, and because of our Saga City, we gain less stress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the perks. And I'm going to take Faithful, Proselytize zealously, and Prolific Pilgrim. This will decrease the pilgrimage costs. So that's actually just using up the points that we dumped out of Whole of Body. And I think what we'll also take is visiting churches, because that is our immediate intent, is to go and visit some churches. And here is one of many things that Owen is afeared of. Vikings have landed just to the north. Connacht is raising its army to go out and fight them. But this is one of the reasons why Owen is looking to get off the island. As we continue to try and improve relations for Flanshina with those around him, Onrahon, the lion, that's a face and a half, or maybe it's half a face, I'm not too sure. He's hungry, he's humble, and brave. He approaches us, looking for a square meal. Do you know what? We could use another blade in our camp. High, martial, and prowess. Something different to what we have so far. And we can actually assign him immediately. Now, I don't think there's much that he can do. He's a bit of a gabbler. Diplomacy and intrigue. His intrigue is not great. His diplomacy is a bit better. We might as well get the very max out of it. We're spending about 50 days to just gain 1%. And we're now in a position to execute the scheme. We are just a tiny bit short of getting the execute with confidence. 78% chance of success. We will seize the moment. And again, it has succeeded. We are PR experts. And we've done a great job by all accounts. And lose 9 stress because we're arrogant. We've gained a ton of provisions. And we have now added Flanshina to our roll of patrons. We have just returned to our camp in Evonia. There is probably Kuldov hauling a big bag of spuds. And we're going to move our camp. Again, there's no actual need to do this, but we're going to start moving up towards... Do you know what? We'll move into Breffni. We'll see what this part of the world is. Nicely forested area. We'll see if there's any other missions up or quests in this direction, but there is a contract to tutor a child. And of course, we could also be looking through the cities in this region. I've actually forgotten about that. More moldy food. We could lose some prestige. Do you know what? It's just a bit of mold. And here is another reason why an Irish ecclesiastic would want to escape from Ireland. We have to deal with the Vikings and the rain. We could try and pray to St. Ruon. It's a 25% chance of success. For divine intervention, 29%. If we use our stewardship skill, we will give it a go. And I think everyone has just gotten pneumonia. The armies of the High King of Ireland, Eoin Latheirt, have been raised. They're actually going raiding. I think they might be raiding Breffni. I thought they were maybe going to deal with the Viking army raiding Allach, but no, they're way off somewhere else. And we're going to travel to Arguilla to take up a contract to tutor a child. Now, unfortunately, the entire region is racked with plague at the moment by the looks of it. But by forcing Dungol to become my physician, a task that he is totally unsuited for, I'm now in a position to bring medical equipment. So it will decrease the chance of plague a good chunk. Not entirely, but you know what, it's something. Off we go. And so Owen has arrived in the court of Arguilla to educate the daughter of Chieftain Conglach, Muel Mura. And as we are carrying out the first session, as we teach her about the grace of social interaction. Yeah, that's a man that should be teaching you about the grace of social interaction. A dog has appeared from somewhere, and she's ran off to play with the dog. Little imp. So we roar at her to come back to us. 95% chance that we entice her back to work. And I think it's either succeeded or... she's died. One of the two. Last time it was a dog, now it is a wooden horse that distracts our student, Welmura, as we teach her about the various dangerous angles from which we could be ambushed. So it's Patrick Stewart wandering into the room and telling Kyle MacLachlan that he shouldn't sit with his back to the door. Anrahan, it's your time to shine. 89% chance of success. Do you know what? Our chance isn't all that bad, but do you know what? Anrahan, off you go. This child is going to achieve absolutely nothing in life. She's now being distracted by an arm-sized stick. We're trying to get her to keep a watchful eye on her surroundings. Still an 81% chance of success, and we have no follower that can help in that task, but I don't think it's needed. We have an exam, angles of attack, social courtesies, economics, marvellous work. It was all Welmura, absolutely. Welmura and that arm-sized stick. 101 gold and a ton of provisions. Oh, fair play. Chieftain Conglach, thank you very much. We're seeing a number of major incursions in this area. Breffni is about to engage with the army of the High King of Ireland, and we're going to use this as an opportunity to move our camp to Dunpodrig. We will avoid this plague-ridden area. We'll spend a small bit of provisions. We can probably... Do you know what? No. We'd better bring medical equipment. And let's scout for talent. I was told there was a sickness in the herd. I was worried for a moment it was a reference to our actual followers, but it's to our pack animals. Surely we can treat them. No. So we are now, unfortunately, in a region stricken with plague, but no doubt our faith in God will keep us healthy. Decisions and contracts. Here's one I forgot to take. We will take a vow of poverty. It's going to decrease our gold income. Oh no. And will increase our piety and our standing with the church. It makes sense that we would have such a thing. And while this region is racked with the plague, let's visit the tribal holding of Dunpodrig. It gives us options as to what we want to do. We could go to the local tavern. Let's go to the local tavern to start with. So a storyteller is seated by the fire. We could approach the hooded figure. We can see who's up for recruitment, or we could hear a story or two. So Laura is telling a story of Horus and Set. Yeah, very popular stories around this region. We could potentially gain some stewardship lifestyle experience, or even stewardship itself. I think we're going to go for this one. We're going to pay 18 to Laura and gain some Hastelauder experience. Owen is very closely examining the hooded figure. We'll see who's up for recruitment first of all, because we could do with a physician. Congus. We could do with a physician. So here's a holy man. Ondle, but he's 77. God damn it. I think for now we will leave Dungol as our physician. We might as well take a look at the hooded figure. Why, it's none other than the barbaric and big-nosed criminal Flaherty. We could use a man of his skill. 31 intrigue. I know there's been a couple of challenges that we could have benefited from a high intrigue character. Do you know what? It's 60 quid. But go on. We might be able to find a camp position for him. We might even make him our physician. If we head back, instead of going to the tavern, we can think about something else. We could look for some supplies. We could sell some of our artifacts. Let's go to the town crier. She could give us a treasure map contract, 2 stewardship contracts, or 2 learning contracts. Scholarly work would be a nice change of pace. So the town crier will basically generate new contracts on the map for us. We have a good chunk of supplies. Let's head back. Oh, god damn it, it's raining again. It's time to begin filling some vacant positions in the camp, and indeed, Flaherty, or Flahri, which I think is like just king or something like that, will make a good camp second. We also have the quartermaster position that has just opened up. Thungol would be good for that. There's the stooge. And bodyguards, do you know what? Anrahon, we'll stick you in there as our bodyguard. We might wait until we have a physician before we appoint Thungol to yet another position within the camp. Now, I had committed to visiting Armagh, but the problem is this region is racked with plague, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually escape all of this for the moment. I'm going to move the camp. We're going to move, basically, to the capital of Alba. That will give us some martial lifestyle experience, how valuable that's going to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize the route the way that we avoid this region here. I won't need to take on mercenaries or anything. We do, however, have a bit of a plague-infested area that we need to get through. And off we go. Departing Ireland for the first time. We will return to Armagh, but in the court of Scotland we do have a number of interesting learning quests in this region that we'll be able to do first of all. Plague has driven us from the island of Ireland, and indeed as we pass through Carrick, we find water, we think about drinking it. However, we read something about tainted water. If we were to drink the water, 44% chance of consumption, and instead we will get +5 plague resistance. And finally we arrive in the capital of the Kingdom of Alba. We get some travel experience and some martial lifestyle experience. We have a number of quests in this region. Indeed, we actually have the opportunity to improve ruler reputation for Dristan II. A confidence trickster. This is a criminal contract. We would never do such a thing. For the mayor in this region, we can create a work of learning or solicit charity. Do you know what? First of all, let us wander down here from the Scottish court and see if we can create a work of learning. I think this is something that Owen, look at him there, sure, he's doing it already. Now, our only major problem is the control in this region. Let's see if we can customize the route. Yeah, so either the plague will get us or the low control. We've arrived in Mayor Dristan's study, and we could begin the creation of an exhaustive work, but you know what? Even though he has fire in his eyes, or at least I think it's fire, we'd better keep this simple for now. I get the feeling that Owen is channeling his inner Garth Marenghi. I peer down at the blank page in front of me. Words. He's a bit arrogant, so he's going to dazzle them with his wits. For the next chapter, we could give them a touch more wit, but you know what? A passage on social skills would be useful. 88% chance of success, and, if all goes well, we'll gain a 5er. For the final chapter, Owen could put more of his wits on display. We could write another theorem about diplomacy. However, there are extra rewards for stewardship, and it's a 72% chance. I'm fairly confident. It looks like he's pulled it off. And indeed, Dristan is absolutely delighted with the work that Owen has created. He says he must put it on display. One additional wonder in the world. We've gained 86 gold. 60 opinion. He is also added to our roll of patrons. We even get a weak hook on him. It appears as though most of the plague in the region has passed, and I'm not too sure if the other contract that was down here has disappeared, if it's actually no longer available, or if it's just outside of our line of sight. While we're here, we will travel to another Dristan, not a mayor, but a Moor mayor, to improve his reputation. He heard of the great PR work that we did in Ireland. So I think we should be able to get rid of the bring medical equipment, and off we go on the short journey. And with our new group of followers, especially Flaherty, we can get up to 100% success chance. We are approached by a fearless Pictish maniac who tells us a story, and he's quite proud of the story that he tells. We could recruit him to camp, but we would gain stress because we're arrogant. Instead, we will tell him a story that will better the one that he has told us. We can take another learning lifestyle perk. I would like to try and push for some of the scholar traits, but I think for now we will continue with religious camp. We will gain additional piety for every follower of the same faith when the temperament is steadfast. I have to check what the temperament of the camp is. It is indeed steadfast at the moment, so this brings us in increased piety per month, contract scheme growth, and army toughness. We have 3 supporters and 1 complacent. And maybe that's because they're all parked out in the snow. And you know what? While it's snowing, we probably have an option to open up another building. What would we want to go for? To prevent us from having to stop while in plague-infested areas, I think I'm going to go for the barber's tent. And as we work on the barber's tent, we're approached by somebody offering a window blind. Oh wait, no, it's a detailed map, sorry. Or maybe it's a map on a window blind. We could give him 50 gold, which is a hefty amount, but it will give us increased provisions capacity, travel safety. That's the most important one. And you know what? That movement speed, it's going to help us get around the world a lot faster. And with the construction of our barber's tent, even with our vow of poverty, we're actually making money. We've been complaining for a while that we are lacking a physician, and while we are in Fife, we're approached by somebody who is as alien to the region as we are. I don't think that an insular Irish monk is as alien as an Ashkenazi. But, do you know what? Solid learning. They're a wise man. I think we have our new physician. Giat, of course, you can become our friend and join our camp. The only problem is he's not much better than Dungol. We will put him in, however, as our physician, which means that I can make Dungol my quartermaster. And we could continue to hold on and try and get the extra advantages together before pulling off the scheme, but you know what? We have a 100% chance of success. We will seize the moment. And there is an extra 45 gold, which I think covers a lot of our expenses that we've just gone through. And we get 500 provisions. We've a long path ahead of us. We will lose some stress. Not a lot, but some. Returning to our camp at St. Johnston, the first thing we're going to do is visit the town itself. Off to the tavern. We usually have a good opportunity to hear a story or two and to improve our Hastelauder wit. We could also lose 3 stress. Do you know what? That's not great. We could go to the town crier to see what contracts they could create for us, but I think what we're going to do is head back to camp. And even though we find ourselves in Scotland, we are going to undertake a pilgrimage all the ways back to Ireland, possibly for the last time ever, to Dundelgan. Instead of going for altruism, I'm going to leave it on reflection to see if we can lose a bit of the stress that we have, and we will begin our pilgrimage. I haven't seen the name Onrahon pop up in the game so far, and now it's popped up twice. Here is an Onrahon who is screaming about the end of days. We could say he's not a priest, cast him down, he's working for InfoWars, but you know what, we'll throw an old bit of Latin at him. Our pilgrimage will become more pious and we'll get some prestige. We have gained a level of devotion. We are known for our dedication to faith. We have another opportunity. A humble stag stares at our holy caravan. The stag is a messenger from God. Follow him. The pilgrimage becomes more pious. It's delayed. We get some piety and lose some stress. So the stag meets another stag and they headbutt each other. What could God have meant by this? I will soon have a child. Considering the court I've been hanging around with, that would be weird. We will gain family omen. Fantastic. House opinion and close family opinion. That's great. And so Owen arrives on Irish soil, like I said, potentially for the last time. He has walked the holy path, become a pilgrim, and lost a tiny amount of stress. We have an opportunity to pray and make the pilgrimage more pious by giving up detailed maps. Do you know what? I paid good money for those maps. Instead, we're going to look at the beautiful arches and potentially gain an architectural interest. I think that's a skill that could serve him well in educating young nobles on the continent. Kuldov wishes to remain behind here at Armagh and to become a monk. We'd only get 100 piety out of it. He would leave our entourage and become a monk. Instead, he could gain celibate, and we could tell him we have abbeys back home. Wait, this is back home. In the desert tents of Armagh, Owen gets into a debate with one of the monks, and we have a 100% chance of gaining some learning lifestyle experience. We're going to take that instead of making the pilgrimage more pious. It's not the most pious of pilgrimages. We did manage to lose all of our stress. Oriel, it's been an honour. We've gained more trade experience in Pilgrim for the first time, 125 piety, and a new learning lifestyle perk. That pilgrimage has led us to lose all of the stress that we built up when I reset the perks from whole of body. So do you know what? We might as well keep going down the theologian route and go for wandering missionary, because we are about to leave the domain of insular Christianity. Master Owen has returned to St. Johnston, to his camp at St. Johnston, leaving Ireland for the last time and leaving the lands of the Insular Christians. He's going to make an immediate pilgrimage to Iona before beginning to push down into England and heading for Canterbury. The pilgrimage will tax our finances a bit, but as we go, we will scout for talent and we will proselytize to the locals in a bid to convert them to insular Christianity. I'm also going to change the focus. I think I can actually put this up now to contemplative, because we've done one pilgrimage, and I'm going to change this to altruism. And as we enter Strathern, we come upon a forlorn Catholic shrine. Tear down this Catholic foolishness. Wait, we're Catholic. And there you go, we've managed to convert some random wanderer. Fantastic. Insularism spreads. We've walked the holy path. We've torn down some shrines and converted some women. I'm genuinely torn between what to do here. I do want the Arms of St. George. I would pay 10 quid to get the Arms of St. George and the pilgrimage becomes more pious, or 300 learning lifestyle. I think for now I'm going to push on with trying to get through theologian and as much of scholar as I can. So unfortunately we're going to have to leave the Arms of St. George behind us. And so our pilgrimage in Iona comes to an end. We only reached tier 1 of piousness, but you know what, that's not too bad. And we return back to our camp at St. Johnston. And as we do, we meet a poor soul. Yeah, poor man's got his head in his hands from that joke. We'd spend a fiver, gain some piety. Do you know what? We have had a lot of opportunities to lose stress. Get this man some shoes. And we return home having converted yet another wanderer to insularism. It is good to be home in St. Johnston. Now we are in a bit of a need for money. Money's getting a bit tight, so I'm going to visit the tribal holding. We could go to the tavern, but I'm thinking about something else. Let's see what the town crier has. There's some criminal contracts, there's some diplomatic contracts, or hireling contracts. We'll see about this diplomacy malarkey. Our diplomacy isn't the best. And the two contracts that we've been given, Dristan needs his ruler reputation improved again. What I think we're going to do is we're going to head north to regale the court of Moormere Creanan. And we will, as always, proselytize to the locals as we go. Arriving at his court, we have the option for what types of agents we want to go with. So here is a new list because we have a shill agent. Intrigue and diplomacy. Diplomacy, intrigue and learning. A musician, a socialite and a gabbler. Sure, let's go with the first list. We are known for our dedication to faith. We've reached devoted servant. And by sticking our agents into their various different positions, we're able to get 90% success chance. And as we regale people at the court, we have an opportunity to hire somebody. We have a high stewardship figure or a high martial figure. Brave, forgiving and greedy. Do you know what? We'll take Foilgus. Good God Almighty, our camp is visited by a vile heretic, a Catholic. We have torn down their shrines in the past, and if we invite this man to join our court, our camp, we will gain 6 stress. However, we will also gain Friend to All Holy. Actually, there's a 4% chance we'll gain stress, or we will gain Friend to All Holy. Same faith opinion will go down, clergy opinion will go down, but different faith opinion will increase. And you know what? Considering that we are about to enter the realm of a different faith, let us try and recruit Alcalard the Strange. With all the work that we have been doing, we are on the way to getting another learning lifestyle perk. Our prowess is 11, our martial is 10. We can also increase our intrigue by taking radiant. Intrigue is 11. So if we take this, we've gained 3 intrigue. Let's see if we can get the thing up again. I think we've gained 3 prowess as well. That would make sense. And 3 martial. To Gaels like Moormere Creanan, a proud Gael like myself is a curious foreign oddity, perhaps even something of a rare treat. We could tell him something about our distant homeland. The nuances would be lost on you, I'm afraid. We'd gain some prestige, would lose opinion with him. I'm going to tell him about Irish living. 95% chance that cultural acceptance between the Irish and the Scottish will increase. What great things we have done here today for Irish-Scottish relations. I was just about to say there's some fantastic nicknames being thrown around the court. Giat the Bearded has grown a beard, which is why they've called him the Bearded. But our caravan master, one of the first to join us in the court, Cool Dove, has died from consumption. He picked that up as we travelled through Ulster, as we fled across to Scotland. He picked that up. I think it was actually when I went from Breffni to Educate a Child in Argyll. He picked that up, and consumption has claimed his life many years after that plague ended. And as well as gaining a beard, Giat has gained some stewardship or some diplomacy. We could try and force him to learn even more diplomacy and get more stress. Do you know what? We'll say the plan goes well. And our new caravan master again, Dungol, would make a mighty job. I don't want to give people too many tasks. So, Foilgus, do you know what? Even though you're average, we'll put you in there. And after we allowed him to join our court and gave him a pair of glasses, Alcalard hates me. I presume because of differing faiths, so cultural acceptance. He's zealous and we're of different faiths, so we will start a scheme to sway him. And our court is being absolutely decimated. Anrahan the lion has died. from being ill, just 39 years of age. This is putting a severe bit of strain on the camp. And he was doing a fairly solid job here as the poet. So that has knocked down our chance of success. I think 90% was the max that we could reach. That has now fallen to 83. We will go ahead and execute our scheme. And we are able to regale the court. The courtiers have practically swooned over my party and I, the ones that have actually survived this party. What a party! It's taken 2 of my followers. Day after day, night after night, we fill their heads with fantastical stories and our bellies with rich fare. Sure, no wonder 2 people died. Now, we've managed to convert some people to insularism along the way. Our only major problem is that we didn't actually get any money, so that wasn't part of the reward. So even though we've already increased the reputation of Dristan, do you know what? We're going to have to travel back to him and get some money together before we venture south. And so, do you know what? Yeah, I suppose that is one way of swaying somebody who doesn't like you. Instead of sharing common interests with them, force them to convert to your religion. That's, yeah, sure. I believe I can make a convincing argument to get him to convert. It hasn't succeeded. And our scheme to improve relations with the Mormaer of Fife has ended because he was slain in battle. My PR company accepts no responsibility for this event. Scotland is racked by war. The Isles are invading to take control of Inverness, and they are proceeding quite well with that at the moment. So we're going to take this opportunity and the death of our most recent client and the collapse of Jorvik to move south. I think we're going to see if we can get to here. So what we can do is actually purchase a wilderness kit, and that will give -13 to forest danger. That should get us there. Now we have just lost our bodyguard, Onrahon, and Cardiff offers to join us and lead us through the snows. Helping others is its own reward. 74% chance that he joins the court, and he does indeed. We'll get you fitted with some glasses in a minute. A bit further to the south of where we are at the moment is an opportunity to help settle a boundary dispute, which is a stewardship challenge. There's a bit of money in it. Oh, these Vikings. This will be the first time accepting a task from a Viking. I think we should be able to get rid of the option there to go through forests, and what we will instead do is go back to scouting for talent. So I imagine as a result of the collapse of Jorvik, a number of boundary disputes have sprung up. Dozens of cases have sprung up by petty landholders and privileged peasantry. We could leave Flaherty here for a while. He could deal with this. We have a 50% chance to succeed on the stewardship challenge, but because we have a scholars camp, I think we can get an automatic success from what I understand. A challenge for enlightened debate. And the arbitration has been a success. We've come to no real conclusions, but we got paid. Another happy patron. I've just moved the camp ever so slightly, the way that we can visit the castle holdings here in Jorvik. And we can actually take a look at Jorvik's castle. Onrahon would have loved the training grounds if he hadn't died while trying to impress somebody in a court. So we show up, we're full of vim and vigor, we've gotten a sword from somewhere. Who gave that man a sword? Yeah, absolutely, this lad's shaking his head. 60 quid, I think, if we want to improve our prowess by 1. Do you know what? I think it's best that we put down the sword and head back. Maybe mingle with some locals at the tavern, hear a story or two, and pay to gain a bit of Hastelauder wit trait experience. And unfortunately, the town crier has nothing for us. Intrigue contracts or criminal contracts. On second thoughts, we'll continue to push south. We've arrived in Bedford, and we're going to take another visit to the castle holdings to see if the town crier has anything for us. There are some stewardship contracts. Do you know what? We're going to have to take them. It's highly likely that Eoin Latheirt is going to have to spend a good chunk of time in this region because we need to get a lot of money together. So hopefully there's going to be a lot of money, that's not too bad, from these contracts. And we're going to serve to oversee the raising of a building in Leicestershire. And as we arrive, we have gained a learning lifestyle perk. So we have completely new positions. I presume a gabbler and a socialite aren't going to be great on the construction site. So learning and stewardship challenges, diplomacy and learning. Do we have anybody that needs intrigue? We do indeed have some muscle. We don't have a lot of muscle, considering that Alcalard the Strange is the most muscly. That doesn't really say much about everybody else. So look, we're at 83%. We were only told to raise the building. As long as we can get paid and get out of there, it doesn't make a difference to us if it falls over afterwards. And while our agents are attempting to raise a building, we will defend the faith. Diplomacy per level of devotion +1, so I think that'll give us a +3. Monthly piety will go up, and we also have some benefits to the attempt to convert interaction. I looked at converting the King of Scotland. It was -140 acceptance, so these will benefit us in spreading insularism. Now the Earl of Leicestershire is looking for a weak hook on us, and he's going to get that hook. And you know what, we might as well get some gold for it. The devil. We're powering on through with our raising of a building in Leicestershire, and we're going to get that done. We're going to get an entire building built in Leicestershire before we manage to sway Alcalard. We will execute the scheme. 83% chance of success. Well, the building is standing. The construction was swift. The result, sturdy and memorable. And we've gotten 63 gold plus the 9 that he bribed us with. We have a long path ahead of us. We return back to our camp in Bedford, and we have that other option in Essex, which I'm going to take. 27 gold if we can get this done straight away. We should have the option to just get in there and get this done, because then potentially there is another raise building contract, and I've just realized that I'm engaging in the trope of Irish people on the building sites in England. So again, it's a 50-50 chance. However, if we take some stress, we can get this done immediately. 250 provisions, 75 prestige, and 27 gold. We could leave Foelgus here for 4 to 8 years to deal with a complicated matter of marriage, inheritance, and business arrangements. I can solve anything if I put my mind to it. And there we go, we have another very happy patron. And we have an opportunity to head in this direction. 35 gold. I hope it's a small building. And if we go for remember, we're here to learn. We have the bailiff and the muscle positions, which we had some success with the last time round. And indeed, our Irish construction company in the middle of England is getting good at its work. We're up to a 95% chance of success. While his construction company finishes off its second building, Owen has unlocked a new learning lifestyle perk, Theologian, +3 learning, increased monthly piety. And now he can begin working his way down the scholar tree next. But this is also a great day for him, as he is now recognized as a great insular theologian. But not everything is going well on the construction site. 2 of our followers, who are rivals, are threatening basically to upend the entire process. If we force them to work together, it'll decrease the maximum chance by 10% down to 85. So I'm going to try and keep them apart, which will basically make this current phase a bit longer, which is a pity because there is a nice collect taxes contract going back in Leicestershire, which obviously means the building we put up there hasn't collapsed yet. We could hang on for another month and try and get the one extra advantage. To execute with confidence, we will seize the moment. Up goes the building, and into Owen's pockets goes another couple of bob. Ethelwine, who has a weak hook on us, has sent out a request that we go to him and assist him in collecting taxes. You might think that Owen is putting together a massive amount of money. Is he maybe regretting that vow of poverty? No, he has a very specific goal with all of the money that he is getting together. And as we reach Leicestershire, we are introduced to the city's magnates. We will interview them each in turn and convince them that they owe Ethelwine a lot of money. The city's reeve has surprisingly extensive quarters. We also see a large chest of what seems to be silver as we passed in the way in. We could try and bribe him effectively to give us, well, we could confiscate. That's not really a bribe. That's more stealing. We could look through the financial records. We will try and catch him out in a lie. 95% chance of success. Owen, you divil, he's doing his Columbo act. So we've managed to catch the reeve out on a lie, which has given us one piece of evidence which will strengthen our chances of getting a strong success. On to the next property. Down into the dungeons we go. Somebody's collecting a tidy sum in fees and fines. We have a 36% chance looking through his financial records. He seems to have a bit stronger of an intrigue. It's a 74. We could make Dungol do the examination, and he is a bit better. It would be a 92% chance of success, but because we're diligent, we'll gain a bit of stress, and so will he. But that 1%, or that chance of success, that is the most important thing here. We still have one more person to talk to. We have gathered 2 pieces of evidence out of a possible 4. Cuthberg makes most of her wealth from renting hostels to visiting locals. We will examine her ourselves, and it is another resounding victory for the Irish Columbo. We have one more person to speak to. Let's see if we can get a resounding victory. Dungol. We could push Dungol into critical stress. Do you know what? We're going to have to take this on ourselves. 67% chance. Flawless victory. Now, with all that, we can still make them pay in full, make them pay half, or say that they clearly can't afford this. So that would be a spectacular failure. We would get a weak hook on the Earl. This would be considered an exceptional success. You have gathered 4 pieces of evidence out of a possible 4. So having collected all possible pieces of evidences, your investigation has been thorough enough to force an exceptional success. You will pay in full, and the Earl is ecstatic. Now, after all of that, what a tremendously successful period of time Owen and his followers have had in this region. What we are going to do is probably, for the last time before we reach the continent, Owen is going to move his camp to the English capital. Now, it's taken us a bit of time to reach England, because it looks like a big chunk of it has just split off. And from here, Owen is going to undertake a university visit. It's quite pricey, which is why he's been putting all that money together. So, just looking around to see where some of the other universities are. The Vatican. Over here. I'd say it'll take us a bit of time to get there. But we're going to travel to Canterbury. It'll be the first of 2 journeys to Canterbury, because we'll be visiting the Abbey here as well. It's a pretty straightforward journey. We'll scout for talent, and we will, of course, proselytize to the locals along the way. Now, Owen is an erudite figure, a man of learning and knowledge. However, he studied hard at Inishfallen to hone his craft. He never really got to live the student life. So as he travels to Canterbury, you know what they say, go liardic or go homic. And so we have arrived at Canterbury, the revered seat of all the knowledge of the Catholic world. I don't know about that. It's also a major centre of culture. It's active markets. We've a bit of money left. It's time to get started. And look at these for high circles that Owen now finds himself in. Meeting with the Bishop of Kent, the utmost authority on Catholic doctrine in Canterbury. And while the suffragan bishop wishes to explore calligraphy, we're going to tell him that everyone knows it connects to the nature of Lucifer. So I don't think we're going to impress anyone. But do you know what? We'll gain some piety. And we'll lose some stress. This lad's having a great time. Our in-depth study of insular doctrine here at Canterbury has confronted us with some new questions. We could lose some stress or gain some alcohol. Actually, we became wounded as a result of that. Good heavens, it looks like some peasants have gotten into Canterbury. You can't just let people like this in here. They're drinking a barrel of the university's Macedonian wine. Do you know what? That wine does look good though. Get me some more cups. Good heavens, poor Owen is in the library trying to study, and there is a sparsely dressed lady softly running a finger across her ample bosom. This is useless. I need to rest. Now here is Oswulf, who I believe is one of the lecturers here in Canterbury. Somebody that we have a middling relationship with, which I think is the best type of relationship to have with lecturers in college. And we could all say that this Anatomy of a Falcon lesson is very interesting. Or we could offer to help, and when he gives us the falcon, unmask it and set it loose in the classroom. We will gain 300 lifestyle learning experience. I don't think, or learning lifestyle I should say, I don't think we're going to be able to push this up to level 2 on the university visit studies. So do you know what? Fly free, bird. And there we go. I think it's quite appropriate that on our visit to Canterbury, by unleashing a falcon in the classroom, we've gained what will be the first, we've gained 2 of what will be our scholar perks. This has been such an amazing experience. I almost saw a boob. It's been great. It's been fantastic. Guys, we'll keep in touch. Oswulf will be added as one of our patrons, and we will gain +1 learning. And with our 2 new learning perks, we are going to head for open-minded. So this gives us wards can gain additional skills, so that's not really all that important to us, but open-minded will give us increased different culture opinion. Before attending Canterbury, I moved our camp to the capital of Wessex, what I thought was the Kingdom of England, to Wessex for a very specific reason. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to work, but you know what? We're going to try it anyway. We will attempt to convert the King of Wessex. We don't have a hook. We don't have 85 gold. We can distribute alms, which will use up 630 of our provisions. We can use St. Padraig's tongue, and I believe that is because we have our intrigue is over a certain level. So he will gain stress. That's fine. He can gain as much stress as he wants. We can gain stress. So we will gain 8 stress. We knock it up to 46%. And we will extol God's benevolence. We do have a good chunk of... Where's Ganta? It's not showing up, but I imagine that what we're doing there is spending some of our piety. It's a 66% chance of success. we will attempt it. And God continues to shine on Master Owen of the Irish Rovers. The King of Wessex has converted to insularism. Blessed be God. He might continue to practice Catholicism in secret. That's fine, who cares? But he has converted. The Queen has converted. And it's entirely possible that that might eventually drag Wessex into the insular faith. And no doubt, Owen was motivated to spread insularism to Wessex as a result of the devastating news that he has received from home. Inishfallen, Munster, has fallen to Holland. The Dutch have arrived. And so it looks as though Owen was perfectly justified and perfectly right, like many Irish before him, in migrating to England to work on the building sites. On the next episode, Owen is going to return to Canterbury on a pilgrimage this time to thank God for the conversion of the King of Wessex before he travels across to Europe. Travels to, first of all, the court of Francia before beginning his journeys into Italy. At the very least, his goal of eventually reaching Rome itself. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope that you will join me on the next one, because as we have seen, Owen needs followers. He's going through them fairly quickly.